Welcome back to Not Men Enough Podcast, and we've got some news. We figured that we would make an episode just kind of explaining like where we're at, where we're going as a podcast, kind of explaining what the purpose of this podcast is, what it means, and going forward what it is and what it means in a sense. Maybe that sounds weird, but you'll understand what we're saying here in a minute. But yeah, Matt's joining me. Trent is out right now. We haven't kicked him off yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, we're thinking about it, but you know, no, I'm just kidding.
That's going to be the thumbnail.
Actually,
announcement, and it's going to be us like banning,
like on the ticker,
yeah, banning Trent. Yeah.
Couldn't do that, man.
No, of course not.
What happened to the camera?
Oh, there you are.
Okay,
That was weird.
that is weird. No, actually, I think Trent's going to have an increased role in certain ways on certain subjects.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's things he knows about that we don't. You might be wondering what we're talking about. Anyway, so I want to talk about like just the history of the podcast really quick. I don't want to hang out there too long, but maybe it'll kind of explain a lot of what kind of goes on with this podcast and the original intent, where we're at now. In other words, what might explain why I have posters of Venom and Spider-Man, and we got Star Wars stuff, and I've got, Optimus Prime Lego back here and stuff like that. And it's like, and then we talk theology. It kind of doesn't make sense. So, I mean, just going back to the original is it intent? I guess it would be intent of this podcast was we wanted to start a podcast that was different than everything else in the Christian realm. And I'm not saying that nobody's done it. Like, we're not breaking new ground necessarily, but we wanted to have a place where Christians could, watch or listen, and we would review things. We would just talk about goofy stuff. It was really based on just the idea of like reviewing entertainment stuff, whether it be movies, music, video games, you name it, stuff like that. And then also we could talk about theological things. And the name was very theological. I know that people think that when they probably see the name, they probably think it's like one of these like almost like chauvinistic type. Yeah, it's really not. It's and we've explained it. If you've been with us for a while, the whole point of Not Man Enough podcast is there's only one man who has ever been truly man enough, and that's Christ. He's the only perfect man that's ever existed, and we're all trying to live in light of that, and live as Christ lived. Although we failed, we fail every day, every moment, but living in His grace and trying to. Put on the new man, as it would be said in Scripture. So the point is that it was throughout the years, this podcast has changed quite a bit. If you go back and you listen to our older podcasts, it was a lot of goofing off, a lot of jokes and stuff like that. And then it just got more and more, not that this is a bad thing, theological, and just like to where it's strictly theological. And it was encouraging because a lot of brothers would come to us and tell us how encouraging it was. And also, so that was an encouragement to us to keep on going.
Yeah.
But if you were going to ask me what the original intent of this podcast was, it was never meant to really be that. And maybe Matt, maybe you can chime in and kind of give your ideas of what you thought it would be, or where it would be now, or what you think about it.
I mean, I remember when we were sitting at the table talking about what we, however many years ago, what was that, like 3 years ago or something?
I think it was like
probably.
3, yeah.
Yeah, when we first started talking about it, all three of us doing the podcast and like what we want it to be and the name and all this stuff. And yeah, we were like, okay, let's do, obviously we're all men.
Right.
It's going to be
biblical manhood, but also,
there's going to be aspects of that, throughout. But I remember early on us trying to figure out how to implement entertainment and then humor, and that's where Is It Manly, which was really fun to do for a while. That kind of died out, not because of
not because it wasn't good.
No, it was
I thought that's one of my favorite segments we ever had, and I think people wish that we bring it back that listened to it a while back. But the truth is, dude, that's hard.
It's hard because you
run out.
You start copying. You just start
repeating.
Yeah, and you
just rewording stuff.
You just that's what I was gonna say. You end up just rewording everything to make it sound slightly different and stuff, and you kind of run into a wall. So I mean, early on, that was kind of our goal was, let's see if we can make some skits, see if it's if we can actually do that, if it's funny, if we can make. I mean, every podcast. I mean, anyone who was listening a couple of years ago, every single podcast had
a joke.
We would try to purposely do something in it that was funny, like a fake commercial. Everyone had every episode had a segment pretty much. Besides
which Sam was great at
Sam
when Sam was on the podcast, man, he would do the commercial reads and it was fantastic.
Dude, it was so. I still love the time I gave him the one just blind. We didn't even tell him beforehand.
Well, he just
started playing music. Was like, hey, read this, and it was the leaking faucet one.
Yeah. It was good.
Was good. Yeah. But that was, I remember
that was more on the audio side before we had video.
And then I remember when we started discussing, hey, we're about to start doing video. We figured that kind of, as we were getting ready to do video, I remember it started hurting the segments a little bit because we were just time, we were really focused on trying to. And then when we started doing video, we had these grand ideas of we're going to do 4 different segments and all this stuff. And then, because of time and things like that and the amount of work, we didn't realize how much work it was going to be. And then I think some out of just laziness and then some out of just what naturally kind of what we ended up becoming. I mean, you could listen back to our last probably 10 episodes or something, 20 episodes or whatever. It's we kind of did away with segments.
Yeah.
Did away with it was just becoming so difficult to do.
Yeah, and we became to where, which I actually love this aspect, and it's something in some form I still want to continue, is it was the interview style that we just have guys on constantly now as guests and we interview them, and that's been great.
It's been good.
We've had 2 authors on. We haven't posted one of them yet, but 2 Christian authors. And I thought that was a great idea and really cool.
And I think that made it a little bit, because
that actually kind of fits the mold of what we originally intended. It does
kind of fit the mold, yeah. Because we talked about that early on, even of podcasts we kind of wanted to model after a little bit, but in a different way. I remember us having those conversations, and that did fit the mold of hey, we would like to get to a point where we interview people. And I remember one of the first ones we did was we were we're going to start the series Men at Work. And we kind of have continued that, but just in a different way where it wasn't so obvious, where it's just focused on their work. But one of the things I think that created a problem with segments and stuff was if you're having a very serious think of some of the testimonies we've had or things like that. It's very serious and I guess a serious interview or whatever, or just
some of them heart wrenching.
Yeah,
I think, let's be honest. Yeah.
And then you go, and then you're let's just goof off. Which is sometimes fitting, but it does make it more difficult because there's been times where I've had a segment planned out, and then we end up. I'm like, man, we've been going for an hour 20. Does this person even want to do this? It just creates a difficulty where, it's. Where but you do kind of feel like we've gotten away from.
In other words, the reason why we started the podcast was to fill a little niche, I guess, that didn't exist within Christian podcasts, in our opinion. Now, it might exist out there, but we haven't seen it. And in other words, we wanted to be able to review bourbons and stuff like that originally. But yet it became so theologically based, which is good. That's a good thing. And it became so this and that it was we had to start worrying about who are we offending? Who
Yeah.
can we, and I'm not saying like that's always a bad thing necessarily, but it just wasn't the original intent. It was meant to be like, hey, as Christian men, we need to be able to laugh.
Yeah.
I remember that was one of our big things is like, I want people to have joy and laugh and just kind of be able to listen to something that's not perverted, that's not out there without, using God's name in vain and all that stuff that you have to put up with someone like Joe Rogan or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, and it's like, so how can we feel that from a Christian perspective, a Christian man's perspective, and working through that. So that was the original intent. And so you might be wondering why we're talking about all this, but the bottom line is we're going to be adjusting and making some changes, and not everything's going away wholesale. Not Man Enough is going to exist in a way. It's just not. We are going to change some names, but not Man Enough Studios will exist. That will be a channel. It's probably going to. We haven't really figured all this out quite yet. It will probably continue to be the channel that you're watching us on right now, possibly. That might be not Man Enough Studios. And we will continue to post many things there, but it might look different. So what about the theological things? Well, we got some projects kind of going on that we've kind of added. And I'll just say, I've been recording with one of our pastors, Pastor Jeff, and we have started a podcast called Grace to Glory. And we've got probably about 4 or 5 in the bank that just need to be edited up and stuff, and we're going to launch that podcast, and that's going to be just theological, right? That's all it is. And so we're still going to have that aspect. But I think that we are going to launch a new new channel that's going to fit maybe the theme of our building a little bit better. like I'm wondering if people could ever even take us serious when we're talking about theology. I mean, all I've got is I've got frames, doctrine of God, and I've got over here. Oh, it's always hard on camera. Richard Sibbs, but. It's like the rest of it's just goofy stuff. But anyway, so we're going to launch a new one that is called Entertaining the Faith. And it's going to be more focused on just maybe movie reviews from a Christian perspective, music. Like I was talking about earlier, is like Trent will have a bigger role in certain ways because, there might be certain things he wants to talk about. Trent, if he knows anything about guns or like music or cars or whatever, he knows more than I will ever know about that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll probably be talking a lot more about just like kind of goofing off and stuff like that, leaving and basically we want people to be encouraged and be able to laugh and have a good time listening to the podcast. But yet we don't want to get rid of the encouragement, because we've had a lot of like people come to us and be like, man, that was a good episode. I'm really encouraged and stuff like that. And we still want a space for that.
Yeah.
And so there will still be stuff posted to Not Man Enough Studios that will fit that mold. We might still use this studio and still it'll look like Entertaining the Faith, and it'll be just uploaded to Not Man Enough Studios. And we might just interview somebody on just a testimony or something like that is serious, but it won't be posted on Entertaining the Faith necessarily. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but basically we're kind of going through a relaunch of sorts.
Yeah. No, I think that was good. Yeah. It's like we'll still do kind of what we're doing right now. Like if you go back and look at our series through Revelation or stuff like that,
we still want to finish Revelation.
Yeah, it might take us a couple of years,
apparently.
But
yeah,
and then like the interview, even the stuff like we've done with Cole and
Yes.
other guys, Brandon and all those, and just those type of things, like have Brett was really good. Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like continue to have those guys on to
There's
discuss.
real value there.
Yeah.
We're not saying that the things that we have done have no value, by the way.
Yeah, no, they've been awesome.
They've been really encouraging. We understand that. And it's like, but if you're going to ask us, we've kind of over the past year to year and a half, we've kind of had an identity crisis on this podcast in the sense of we didn't know what direction to go or what, and we just kind of fell into this lane with no real, I don't want to say purpose, because a purpose just became just encouraging theological discussion, but it was never fulfilling the original intent of the podcast.
And I would just say it was hard for us to figure out where to implement like the other stuff, the humor, or like if you saw like some of our editing, not like necessarily editing out the humor, but saying like there's several podcasts that where I've trashed the first 10 minutes because I'm like, okay, we start with talking about whatever, but it's so hard to go from like, hey, let's talk about college football to transition from that to is this guy a heretic? It's like it's just kind of like it doesn't blend well,
right?
And it's even hard if you have a guest on and they're like, what are we talking about right now? And we've kind of experienced that before, where we've had someone on and we're like, let's react to this, and then they're like, what are we react? They
didn't even know how to react to it because it's like, what are we doing?
Kind of like kill, kind of, like a, like it just wasn't. And it was just fine because it does, like you said, it's kind of an identity crisis where you're like, we want to talk about these other things that we're also interested in, but it's hard to fit it in. Whereas I'm like, okay, and I think like going forward, okay, we'll still do the other stuff, but it's going to be, we don't have that pressure of like, because right now we've been trying to keep like a weekly, hey, let's have something every week to upload, to keep a schedule. And, I think that's just going to pretty much go away. Like it's like, we're still going to upload stuff, but it's going to be more dispersed, and it'll be something we're very interested in. It might still be often. Heck, we might have some that we do
so
3 or 4 weeks in a row. And then, one thing I was thinking too is, so when we switched to video, we took all of our old audio down.
Yeah.
And stuff. And there was multiple reasons for that. We were like, okay, well, let's kind of filter through some of it. Let's say we took all of it down. I don't remember if we took all. I think we did take
most of it.
Yeah. But I want to go through and pick out. Some of them was just because we're like, I don't know if this is any good. Like it just might not
Some
be.
of them are very cringy.
Yeah. And we thought about.
I mean, we still make cringy stuff. So
but
this is cringy, probably.
Yeah. We thought about in that moment too, our goal was kind of a relaunch of like, hey, let's and then it just kind of didn't stick because we had a hard time, like we were explaining a while ago. But I want to take some of those because I think there's some really good stuff from those older episodes.
We tried to do a relaunch without a launch.
Yeah.
And so basically under Not Man Enough Studios, which will just be called NME Studios, we're going to have 2 extra channels underneath it. And one of them is going to be Entertaining the Faith, which is going to be us in this studio. And then the other one's going to be Grace to Glory. And that one is going to be Dr. Jeffrey Johnson, author, president of seminary, pastor.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we can put all those. We could put all those at the bottom of his name when we're introducing that and stuff like that on the little at the bottom, like, hey, this is Jeffrey Johnson, author, this and this. And for me, it's just going to be this guy.
Well, no, I already thought of a title. It'll be a seminary dropout truck driver.
High school dropout, seminary dropout truck driver.
Yeah, dude, drop it. That would be, dude. We got to do that. No.
So, but my plan, and if this is Jeff is okay with this and everything else, but from what it seems like, he's good with it. But so don't hold our feet to the fire on this. But I want to upload kind of everything, whether it be shorts or everything, to that Enemy Studios.
Yeah, which is what you're currently seeing will be. We're just changing it up, man, enough to Enemy.
Yeah,
which we kind of already started doing that. Like I changed our logos, and
I kind of want to get everything under that, whether it be shorts of every single thing that we do.
Yeah.
Or it's just kind of everything there. Maybe we even upload full episodes to it. I'm not sure how it's going to work out yet. But then you will also have the channels that actually have the full episodes all the time, and it's just that. So Entertaining the Faith, it's going to have to do with sports. It's going to have to do with movies. It's going to have to do with music. It's going to have to do with video games. It's going to have to do with culture things, kind of like, whatever, it's just going to be like kind of like, hey, if we want to review a this or that, an album that just came out that's not Christian, but we want to kind of give our thoughts on it as Christians, it's going to be there. And then, but if you're going to look for like deep theological discussion that's encouraging to you, that might drive you to scripture, then Grace to Glory will be that. It'll kind of be like that more seminary, almost like, not that I'm a seminary guy or seminary student, but it would be like sitting around the table with a professor, because that's what it is, and literally being able to pick his brain and interact with that conversationally. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the intent of that. And man, I've been really encouraging. That's been really fun to record. And so I don't want people to think that we're getting rid of like theology or anything. Yeah. Look, our theology is going to dictate how we react to the entertainment aspect. And it's not like Christ is going to be not mentioned. Obviously, it's going to be from a Christian perspective. It's going to be from what we think, how Christians can think about these things and stuff like that. But my point is that all these ideas that we have now, I feel like are fulfilling a niche that isn't necessarily there. The conversational piece that me and Pastor Jeff have, I don't know, we don't know quite what it looks like yet, because we've only recorded a couple, but so far I don't really can't think of a podcast that really kind of hits that. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe there is.
But, I mean, in a sense, yeah, but it's
the conversational piece
conversational
of it
is a little different, and then being regular in the sense of like most, and that was one of our things with starting even this one was, hey, a lot of these Christian podcasts are very singularly focused for the most part. It's like all they deal with is this, or all they talk about is this, and then like every once in a while they'll have someone on. It's just to talk about this, and it's like you always feel like there's like a gap missing there of like, hey, where are the, like, and we've talked about this so many times on the podcast with Christian entertainment and stuff like that. It's like it seems to be missing stuff. There's a handful of guys out there that do a pretty decent job of kind of what we've talking about. Like we'll discuss all different forms of entertainment and theology, and
most of them get raked over the coals.
True. Yeah.
I mean, the one guy that talks about a little bit of everything is someone like Kirk Cameron. Every other week he's in trouble. I mean, honestly, it's like, and that was something that we were kind of running into, quite honestly. We were, because people and it's fine. Like, I get it. It's just like you had to worry about offending people on certain issues. Maybe their convictions didn't align or something. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, our sense of humor has to, not that our sense of humor needs to be offensive or like any kind of like offensive. I'm not saying that. But look, if you have a problem with, bourbon or something like that, well, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
or you can watch the other one.
Right. I mean, it's just like, but that's what you're going to get, and just letting you know.
Yeah.
Whereas before it became more of a, I don't know how to explain it, almost like a ministry. And Not that that's a bad thing. I'm thankful that people are encouraged by it. I don't even know how to really say the words because it's like I don't want to stop that aspect of it in one sense.
No, I mean we'll continue.
We'll continue.
Yeah,
it's just like
actually it will be more because
focused.
Yeah, it will be more focused. Whereas okay, this new channel is going to be purely focused on all these other aspects of you know, maybe start working on some of the skits that we have. You know, I got a 100 ideas in my notes that we've written down over the years. You know, like start working on some of them, start working on other stuff, but that's going to take time. So it's like, okay, well, these other things, you know, maybe like I was saying a while ago, maybe we'll still or we still will upload to Enemy Studios, but it will be rare. You know, I say rarely. It won't be on a weekly basis. You know, it's like
if it is, it's like shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
or it will be carryovers from the other channels that if we put a full episode from over there.
Yeah, or something that just didn't fit in either one. You know, it's like interview that we wanted to do, follow up on an interview, stuff like that. And there's still stuff that I'll probably upload. You know, it's like, okay, I've discussed with other guys. Like I've talked to Danny about, you know, calling him out on the, no, I'm just kidding. But I've talked to Danny about doing like an episode on a particular subject.
Right.
That I think it would be really good. But that wouldn't fit in Entertaining the Faith. So it's like, okay, well, we'll go under Enemy Studios because it's very directed at one particular thing. It'll be very serious.
We still want that aspect is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But at the same time, it kind of, that aspect of it, the seriousness of it, the encouragement of it, we couldn't mix the two. We were finding that was almost impossible. And maybe other guys can pull it off. I felt like we were just all over the map and we just kind of lost our identity in a sense like that of a podcast because we always felt like, man, let's work in something funny. And it just never worked. Because after you talk about something serious and then you try to switch over to that, it's like you can't.
Yeah,
it's just like
we learned unless it flows naturally. Like, you know, there's times where we're all cracking up, laughing and stuff like that.
We're not paid comedians. Let's just say that.
And it's natural flow into the like the jokes kind of set themselves. But it's whereas like what we used to do more of, like I said, the skit type stuff, the trying to think of like clever, witty, you know, episode that's just all sarcasm or something like that, like we've talked about. That was harder to do because, like you said, you can't. It's hard to blend those two, and it's like, okay, well, instead of blending those two, we're just going to separate them. We're just going to separate it all, and then, okay, well, if you want, like you were saying, if you want to hear us talk about college football, movies, you know, movie reviews, music reviews, video games, all that stuff, like anything entertainment related that we feel like talking about, okay, it's going to be on this channel. If you want to hear an interview with a brother about his testimony, it's going to be on Enemy Studios, you know.
Right.
And then if you want to hear strictly theology, what would Pastor Jeff think about the, you know, little teaser, the tree of life in the garden?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's going to be on Grace to Glory. And it's like, you'll know, hear the, what I want to listen to. Do I want, you know, goofy entertainment? You know, this type of whatever Enemy Studios is going to transition, or do I want just strictly serious theological
And I'm not against, by the way, posting minus on Enemy Studios, minus full episodes of just the entertainment stuff. That will probably always sit just on Entertaining the Faith more so.
Yeah.
Because it would get too convoluted.
Yeah.
To me, Not Man Enough Studios has now kind of set what it is in the past year, and it wasn't what we expected it would be, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so my point is that can continue so we can pull stuff over from Grace to Glory, whether it's just a little snippet out of it or whatever, and that can post over there. And also interviews that we still do in the studio can go there and stuff like that. So it's not going to be void of. There can be stuff from the other podcasts that will be posted there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. So it might be like, if you like what we do right now and you've liked the theological discussions, we'll still stick around with this channel because that stuff's still going to make it here. It's just, we might have to reach into our backlog and stuff too.
Yeah.
To kind of populate it in a sense for
Which
a little
I plan
while.
on doing is
Yeah.
if you see, I was gonna say, if you start seeing over the next few months, like old episodes pop up on YouTube, things like that, or repost on, you'll see them pop back up on Spotify, stuff that like, I'll make it clear in the title that it's an old,
Yeah.
I'll probably, or at least, back into it, say, hey, this is, title of it, and then put, the date that it was recorded or something like that. And so people know that's old, but I want to start uploading them, converting the MP3 to MP4. I've messed with it a little bit. It's not as easy as it seems, but and uploading them to YouTube and doing that kind of stuff. But also, just to know too, we'll probably post this episode, and then it'll probably be dead air for a little bit.
We do have some episodes in the bank that we have an interview with like I said, a Christian author that we interviewed about his books and owning a bookstore and stuff like that. He owns a bookstore, which is awesome. And we still have that one in the bank, and we're still going to post that one because it's a really good episode.
Great.
I love that episode. And so that's still there. We still have some other ones. We posted Revelation chapter 5, but I think you cut it into 2 episodes.
I did, yeah.
And so, we just lost camera. I don't know what happened.
I don't either. You're back. Here we go.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe I need to buy new cameras.
Yeah. But anyways, there will be a little bit of, like I said, you won't see a weekly post for probably, I would say, like a couple weeks. We'll just take a break just to help us work on the Grace to Glory stuff and name change of the other
and hopefully find an editor
channel. Yeah.
because these ideas, like what you're hearing right now is what we want, what we're trying to pull off. And so if it doesn't end up looking like that at first, give us some grace, because it's like, man, this is one of the hardest things that I didn't realize is when we picked up video is how hard this is to keep up with in editing.
It's a lot.
And I do want to get to the point, and my vision for this podcast was always to be able to live stream.
Yeah.
And just have it just upload immediately. The problem is we're dumb guys that just can't control our mouths, and the sense of, not that we're cussing or saying anything bad, but just things that's like, okay, like that's inside joke that wouldn't, go over.
Yeah,
it's
goofy,
stuff like that,
or like doesn't make any sense, or
it just doesn't fit and so it's like, yes, we're
like the opposite of having a script, where a lot of guys have, like, you listen to like guys like whoever that does
right.
Matt Walsh, these guys, stuff like that.
It's
that
structured. Yeah.
It's like, he's very clearly has like,
it's
at
his
least
job.
his semi-script.
Right. Well, it's his job.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah.
Like, he's writing stuff out and stuff, and it's like, we've never like,
no,
we'll have an outline here and there, but it's like,
sometimes we show up and it's like, what are we talking about?
yeah. And which is fine.
That's fine.
But
yeah. It's always actually been a strength.
It's hard to
of the
do
podcast.
live stream of like
right,
the 30 minutes of rambling before we actually decide to.
Yeah, because we didn't want to put people through torture.
Yeah.
And we already do enough anyway. So it's like, let's be honest. There's some episodes y'all probably listen to. It's like, man, what are these guys all about? And we want to focus it more. Hopefully we can do that. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. Like, the bottom line is changes are coming. We're hopefully going to be able to pull all this stuff together. I don't know what's going on here.
That's what we'll work on doing.
Yeah. It just keeps going blank. So just keep posted. If you like what we have been doing, I think you're going to enjoy the things that we have coming up. I don't think it's going to be like, look, the conversations that I think that are had in this Grace to Glory, I think will definitely fulfill that.
Yeah.
And the interviews that I still want to interview people when they have a great testimony and stuff like that, like we said, and that will go there too. And so we're not abandoning it. It's just we're expanding it. I always wanted with this. I mean, I built a studio, and the truth is, people think we're crazy for building a studio. I think we're crazy for building the studio because the truth is, we don't hardly have any followers. We're not talking to a ton of people out here that even like are following us right now. Honestly, I mean, I'm not living in a delusion that we're making it. So I don't want you to think that like, oh man, these guys acting like they're all big, and we're not. But I did have an original vision that I wanted several episodes under a studio.
Yeah.
I wanted several different podcasts under one studio. And I feel like this is an opportunity to get there.
Yeah.
And with this extra podcast that we started, I think that's fulfilling the role of what we've been doing sufficiently enough, if not beyond, honestly, what we were doing here the last year or so. And we can kind of get back to the original idea. Anyway, if y'all have any comments, any concerns, message us. For you who know us personally, text us, whatever you want. It's fine. We'd like to hear your opinion on it, interact with it, whatever. But we will let y'all know when we start posting to these other channels and when we start posting stuff to this channel that's going to just slightly change its name. It's just going to be called Enemy Studios, I think. I think that we can do that.
Something like that.
Yeah, right. Whatever's allowed.
Yeah.
But, and so, yeah, just keep an eye out. And if you see that we haven't recorded for a little bit, that's why. We're just trying to get stuff in the bank, edit stuff, and get stuff kind of ready to go. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And thanks for, if you've been watching us for a while, thanks for supporting us, all 5 people. I'm just kidding. No, it's more than 5, but it's
It's at least 10.
It's at least 10. My mom listens. Actually, my parents stopped listening a long time ago. But even my parents don't listen. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thank y'all, man. Y'all have a good one later.